Welcome back, campers. It is a frigid yet lovely Tuesday afternoon here in Harmony Township, New Jersey. This is Cousin Chris, and you are listening to episode 5 of the Cousin Camp podcast, where the breeze is shot and the fire remains intact. Today, I am joined by a special guest. He's a long lost friend and gym partner as well. His name is Mr. Damien Polizzi. He also goes by Elvis Presley. There is a semblance there between him and the king of rock and roll. How are you today, Damien?
Good. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Damien, he is a proud resident of Sewell, New Jersey,
That's right.
and
Township.
he. How long have you lived in the township area?
Uh, 14 years.
14
It'll
years.
be 15 in June.
15 in June. Awesome. And he's married with children. You have 3 children, correct?
3 kids, 17, 15, and 13.
Awesome. Good. Very good. And I'm sure with everything going right now with the pandemic, are they in school? Are they doing hybrid classes or?
For about 340 days straight, I've been staring at my children.
Look at that.
No, I mean, the school township has gone in and out of hybrid. So Thursdays and Fridays, they're supposed to be in school for a half day. I guess most of November, December, and January, they were kind of home when it was peaking. And then mid-January, they went back. So they're supposed to be back in school tomorrow again. We'll see. Every day is a surprise.
Awesome. Last time we spoke, you were in a partnership with the in construction. The name of the company was Dell Home Pros. I just wanted to see if you were still in the construction business, partnered with Dan. Are you still working remote?
So no, it was a partnership, but the business model didn't really make sense for a partnership. Now we were colleagues for a long time. He was more on the installation side and I was on the sales side. And then he asked me to come on board to try and drum up sales, but it just made more sense for him to be a sole proprietor. So we parted ways very amicably. If I can help him in any way, I can. And we still talk from time to time. He's since changed the name and specialized in another division, but he's doing very well on his own. I still do home improvements in the sales side. I run sales teams. Right now it's kitchen remodeling. Been doing that for about 3 years now. And overall, about 20 years collectively, I've been in the home improvement on the sales side of the business.
Sounds exciting. And recently, Damien has been on social media promoting his new business venture, which is the pizza business. He has been a proud pizza chef for quite some time now. He was a part of the family business, and that ended like some time ago. And Damien has a brick oven in his backyard, and
Yep.
when the weather's warm. Actually, are you getting any use out of that brick oven now?
I am. I'm actually, it can retain heat pretty well. I don't make them outside. I just put them in the oven and then come back inside and wait for it to finish. It's too cold. But I still cook them outside for the most part.
Very good. Awesome. What's your favorite pizza topping?
That's tough. I mean, I go through phases. I always like arugula and prosciutto with a balsamic glaze, a simple margarita. I've been going into the Detroit style lately, so it just changes with my mood.
Is the Detroit like a deep dish style?
Yeah, so it's almost like what we would call a Sicilian, but it's got a cheese crust around the entire perimeter, like a burnt cheese crust. That's the biggest difference. And the sauce is on top, like a strip of sauce, not like a tomato pie, but a strip of sauce.
Gotcha. When the sauce is on top, I'm familiar with like the grandma. That's almost like an upside down.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I mean, there's so many different variations that it can look very similar to a grandma, but that cheese crust is the biggest difference between Detroit and Sicilian.
Gotcha. All right. What were your motivations of wanting to get back into the pizza business?
Yeah, so my wife didn't want me to do it for a while because she remembers when I was in the pizza business in my 20s, I was a little crazy. So I would get mad, throw pots and pans, scream and yell. And she didn't really see it much. She just heard it on the phone when she would call and some of my war stories. But I was a hot-headed 26-year-old kid, always angry all the time, whatever. Then I tried a couple more business ventures, let my ego get in the way. I've lost a lot of money in the pizza business. I've done very well in the pizza business, but I've been out of it for so long. And so 2 years ago, as you mentioned, I put in that outdoor pizza kitchen. And that kind of scratched the itch a little bit for me. It allowed me to host a lot of parties, had a lot of people over pre-pandemic. I would pump out 20, 30 pies in the course of a summer afternoon for everybody, strombolis, everything. Cheesesteaks, I put a cheesesteak griddle out there, or a grill, refrigerators. It's a whole kitchen. And that kind of scratched the itch, but I really enjoy feeding people and letting them enjoy the food. You know, it's everybody loves pizza and cheesesteaks. I mean, who doesn't, right? And so, you know, you grew up around here, so you know how many pizzerias there are.
Absolutely.
And so most people would say, what are you doing? There's like 30 pizzerias in your zip code. And I get that. And they're all good. It's not putting any of them down. I order from a lot of them. But what I intend on doing, there's no brick oven pizzeria in town.
Oh, really?
And there's no Detroit style. There's no hand-sliced ribeye cheesesteaks like they do in the city. There's really nobody who does an Italian specialty sandwich on a Sarcone's roll with the chicken cutlet and the broccoli rabe and the long hots. So I feel like everybody around me is from South Philly. I'm not from South Philly, but everybody around me is from South Philly. And I think it's just a product that's missing in town that it only makes sense to put it here. If I was going to put my other pizzeria style menu here, I wouldn't do it just because everybody has that. You know, your normal cheesesteaks, Italian hoagies, pasta dishes, salads, wraps, and your normal, you know, football pizza, as, you know, Barstool would call it, right? There's so many of them already, I wouldn't even try and compete with them. But this is something that nobody's doing. Some neighboring towns have some brick ovens that do well. They're little small shops. And I'm not trying to make a killing. I just want to bring something different, make a decent living out of it, obviously cover my bills or its bills. And I just think it's something different that the town needs.
Awesome. So that's very important. Delivering a whole new dynamic in terms of the brick oven. That sounds like an interesting niche, you know, especially, you know, in that industry. And when you mentioned that, you know, back in your 20s, you know, being in the food business, you had a wild side. I remember when I worked in the food industry, you know, as a teenager, I worked at a store. It was at a like a restaurant. They served burgers, cheesesteaks, and it was just a little small business on the corner. They're not in business anymore. They're called Bradley's in Stone Harbor, New Jersey.
Okay.
I lived right down the street, and the owner passed away. Lord rest his soul. His name was Bill Burns, and but I mean, he really got aggravated, and like he had like the rigors of the expenses and all of the operations that went into running a business, and like everything, managing a group of people can be, you know, very, you know, aggravating. But it's at the same time, it's very rewarding and
Sure.
and fun. But it just really made me, you know, reminisce on that. I mean, it was phenomenal. They had great chicken cheesesteaks. You know, you were talking about the cheesesteak platters.
Right.
And I did that for a few years, and then I went off to college, went to school. I worked there for a little bit, interned with my father at his insurance agency, and now I'm in the car business.
Right.
And so there's that. I've been living up here. You mentioned that, you know, all the pizza parlors in township, you know, there's countless. There's countless, you know, where I live now, it's Harmony Township, but it's funny, it's still a part of like the Washington area because I work in Washington, New Jersey. That's part of Warren County, and there are countless pizzerias up here as well. You'd be surprised. It's such a small area, but everywhere you look, I mean, there's a pizza parlor. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's Jersey. I mean, it's such it's got so many people per capita that is so densely populated. You have to have so many pizzerias in each town. You have to have so many Chinese food places in town. You know, you have your Chinese, you have your pizza, each one of those once a week for every family. So everybody eats that, you know. But it's so densely populated in Jersey, and Jersey doesn't really have an identity. It's stuck, right? That's why we're always mad, because we're not New York, we're not Philly, we're Jersey, and we like to be the butt of the jokes. And the most famous people that came out of our state over the last 10 years are a bunch of 20-year-old kids who, do gym, tan, and laundry. And listen, I'm a huge fan of the show, but that identifies the entire state. So we're kind of like stuck. It just doesn't make sense. And especially down here, we're 20 minutes from Philly, but nobody's doing anything different. You go to certain towns like Haddonfield, Collingswood, Pittman does a nice job with their restaurant row of all those different little eateries. But every other town, it's just normal food. It's just what you expect in every town, USA. I'm not saying it's going to be very special. It's just going to be different. It's just going to be a different style.
Sure. Do you plan on delivering for once you get started?
Well, my wife's not around, so I could tell you. No. She doesn't want me to. When we start out, we're going to start out slow. I'm very fortunate. I've made some pretty good moves throughout my career. So like I said, I don't have to explode from day one. It doesn't have to be, slammed, open till midnight, open 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm going to start with a 5-day a week. Everything's going to be fresh. So we're not going to have a freezer. I may carry one freezer for ice, and it sounds funny, but actually frozen broccoli works better on pizza than fresh broccoli.
Oh, wow.
And that's really the only reason I'm going to have a freezer. All the steaks are going to be fresh. All the chicken's going to be fresh. The dough is going to be made every day. So when we run out, we run out. I'm not going to make my own rolls because Sarcone's has perfected the roll. And there's other good bakeries in South Jersey that do a good roll too. So I'm even interested in maybe even using them. But, when we run out of dough and we run out of bread, we're done for the day. So if it's 7 o'clock at night, if it's 6 o'clock at night, but delivery scares me. And obviously my wife, that's why I mentioned it, because you're not in control of the product anymore. You make it, it's perfect. And then something happens between point A and point B. And, I could outsource it to Grubhub. They don't care. I'm not saying they don't care, but it's a third party.
Sure.
So, and I can employ delivery drivers, but that's a huge liability. It's hard to find very good help. I have a lot of people lined up to work for me, so I'm lucky. My son's a senior at Township already.
Wow.
So a lot of his friends want to work, and they're really good kids. But, they'll be in school and they'll be going to college soon. So I'm going to need, all the basketball guys we used to play with, well, they're off into their own careers. They don't want to work for me. So it's just hard to find really good help. That'll be the biggest challenge. I'm not concerned about the menu or the food. The location, I think, is going to be great. The town, the customers, all that's easy to me. It's always finding good help and stuff.
I hear you. Yeah, you're starting at the perfect time. You mentioned your son and his friends going off to college. It's good to find something, between that gap for them. Also, I was talking about the shore earlier. Have you ever tried pizza, down, like you mentioned the Jersey Shore as well. Do you have like a particular favorite restaurant down the shore, like pizza or anything?
So it's funny. My father, I'm third generation pizza.
Okay.
My father, obviously did it. That's all he ever did. That's all he ever did since he was 10 years old. I think his first job was at my grandfather's grocery store in Brooklyn, and he served pizza there. So that's why I say I'm third generation. But my father always told me, never eat at the Jersey Shore when it comes to pizzerias. And I said, why? Everybody loves pizza at the Jersey Shore. It's different. And I ate it. But every time I took a bite, I would always hear him in the back of my mind, don't eat it. And why he would say that is, and I don't know if it's true. I know it was true at some time when my dad used to work at the Jersey Shore in the 70s, around when I was born. But that hose, that they put the pizza sauce on, those famous places that hose the pizza on the Ocean City Boardwalk and the Wildwood Boardwalk, they use this hose. And it only gets cleaned on Memorial Day and Labor Day because they're so busy 18 hours a day. And those tubes are just filled with old sauce. That's what he said. I don't, So I always think of really old sauce whenever I eat at the Jersey Shore. But the common places, tradition was always Mac and Manco's. Now I think it's called just Mac's. The partnership broke up, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I know there's a John's Pizza down there in Wildwood that's very popular. But I don't go to the shore too much. What about you? What's your favorite place?
My favorite, there's a place, it's like on the Avalon Stone Harbor
Mm.
border. I think it's called Max. Yeah, I had it over the summer. But it's
MACK?
phenomenal. Yeah. They do a good job over there. You can't eat there due to the pandemic. You can't go inside like to pick up an order. It's funny
Yep.
they do it all outside. You have to pick it up from outside. So I believe it's called the original. Yeah, they brand themselves as being like the original Max, but
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah, we're talking about the same place, and there's a bunch of them all across the southeast coast of Jersey.
gotcha.
It used to be called Mac and Manco's. Now they're just Macs.
Okay, gotcha. All
Yeah, they
right.
do a good job.
Yeah. So Damien had the privilege, I believe it was a summer or two ago, he had a series with the man of a thousand voices, Mr. Joe Conklin,
That's right.
straight from his backyard too. He showed him the experience of food making, and Joe had some impersonation, well, sound effects, if you will.
Yeah.
And we love to have Joe here on the Cousin Camp podcast, and we'd love to arrange that. What was your favorite experience while being interviewed by Joe and just going through that whole experience?
Yeah, so Joe, I didn't know too well because I don't listen to WIP. I'm not a big sports radio guy, but I know of him because he's a staple in our area, right? The Delaware Valley. He's very, very popular around here. And I did go see a comedy show of his. My neighbor reminded me like 10 years ago. Me and a couple neighbors, the husbands went out to go see a comedy show of his in South Philly. And he's a really great guy. He's a really, really genuinely great guy. So I didn't know what to expect because, again, I didn't know much of him. But real nice guy, came to my home. We filmed 8 episodes. And he knows more about food than he let on during the recordings. He really knows his stuff. I was impressed. He cooks a lot at home, too.
Oh, that's good. That's something I ought to work on, my culinary skills.
Yeah? You want to come in the backyard? I'll show you
Yeah,
some things.
do a little grilling. I want to start off simple, like grill some chicken or some steak or whatever.
Yep.
Saute it, and if you had to choose between chicken and steak, what would it be? Or even any meat for that matter.
Well, so obviously a family of 5. We don't eat out very much, just because we like the way we cook. We go through at least 10 pounds of chicken a week for a family of 5. We have chicken
Wow.
every day of some sort. So we'll grill probably 3 or 4 pounds a week and just eat it as salads and wraps. So we only have steak because my wife likes me to be healthy, even though I'm not, but she likes me to be healthy. So we probably have filet mignon maybe twice a month. We'll have like a low-fat ground beef burger once a month and fish once a week, but everything else is chicken. So if you would make me order right now, I would order red meat because we don't get it that much. Right, Soph?
Yeah.
It's a chicken.
Anyway.
Hey, Sophie. I wanted to, and that's Damien's daughter, by the way, Sophie. Huge shout out to Sophie. And I wanted to also um, mention, yeah, absolutely. I'm a meat lover myself. There's definitely the option of, getting meat lover pizza. Pizza Hut does that, and I wanted to ask you if you tried the chicken brisket sandwich at Wawa. I had the pleasure of trying that the other day. I was impressed.
Really? Yeah, you know what? Like I said, we don't eat out much. We don't eat fast food. So I haven't tried it. It's good, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll give it a shot for $4. Why not? No risk.
I hear you. All right, so anything? Let's see if I have anything. All right, that's all I have to cover for today. I'm glad
Yeah.
you made the time to chat. His name is Damien Polizzi, ladies and gentlemen. What's your Instagram handle?
So it's Polizzi's Brick Oven.
Okay, gotcha.
I have a personal one, but that's just for family and friends. So
I'm on Instagram.
Polizzi's Brick Oven. Check us out. looks like it's going to be in the ShopRite Shopping Center in Township, right off of Egg Harbor Road. Um, Looking to sign the lease in the next couple weeks and start construction. Actually, Andrew is going to meet me there Thursday night.
All right.
Andrew Cicito, to help me out with the contracting and see if we can get this place built up and hopefully open by September.
Awesome. Yeah, exciting stuff, Damien.
Yeah.
All right. It was a good episode. Campers, if you have any questions for myself or Damien, feel free to message us on Instagram. We do have our Instagram page, the Cousin Cam Podcast. You can stream us on YouTube and Spotify as well. The Anchor app, it is free if you're looking into starting your own podcast. But it was a pleasure. Thanks so much, Damien.
It was good seeing you, buddy. Take care.
Catch you soon.